happening tonight in Vancouver.
Why would I want to need a vaccine passport?
Another protest against vaccine passports, this one skipping the hospital for Vancouver City Hall. More from demonstrators and doctors who believe they'll be treating these people as patients soon.
COVID-19 does not care about our personal beliefs.
This is up to the citizens of Surrey. They can sign or not sign. The mayor should not be involved.
Accusations of interference against Surrey's mayor and a call for Elections BC to investigate.
I think today is a charm campaign. I think the charm campaign is on, and each of the candidates has to get their message across directly to Canadians.
Federal leaders hit the political ring in the second French debate with the title of government on the line.
This is City News everywhere.
You treat it like you would any other seasonal illness. Okay? Fresh air, exercise, good foods.
Fight for your children! Fight for your children!
Another massive crowd gathering to protest pandemic health measures ahead of the BC government's passport system being implemented in just days. Carrying signs reading, "Reject the tyranny of vaccine passports." Many cited misinformation and conspiracy theories to argue against vaccines.
You're not accurate at all. This is not an anti-vax movement.
What is it?
It's a fight for freedoms.
Yeah, so you would get the vaccine?
Why would I get an experimental vaccine?
We Are All Essential is the group behind the protests, which grew to over 1,000 people in front of Vancouver City Hall, according to Vancouver Police. Some signs going as far as to comparing public health orders to slavery and the Holocaust, among other things.
They are saying right now this is complete apartheid, racial discrimination.
You're gonna compare this to apartheid in South Africa?
Yes, it is. Yes, because my girlfriend can't go to work, and she's been a healthcare worker. She was on the front line.
How does that compare to racial discrimination?
Yes, completely.
How does that compare to racial
because
discrimination?
people are dying and being disabled, like I told you.
You can't change the color of your skin.
Well,
I know of 3 people who have suffered from this shot, and they need ivermectin, and where can we get it?
So would you rather take that than a vaccine?
Absolutely.
It's all very well for people to want to express their opinion, and they have the right to their opinion, but they don't have the right to their own facts. And the facts put these anti-vaxxers on the wrong side of society and on the wrong side of history, frankly.
Health Canada issued a warning last month, urging Canadians not to use veterinary ivermectin to treat COVID-19. It says the deworming treatment for animals could cause serious health effects, ranging from vomiting and seizures to death. This protest comes a week after this. A demonstration outside Vancouver General Hospital. Healthcare workers reported being verbally abused and in one case assaulted.
Certainly not lost on us that some of the people that were at the protests are probably going to end up needing our care. They're going to end up needing oxygen. They're going to end up needing to be intubated. They're going to end up in intensive care. That's inevitable. This variant is just so transmissible. It is so good at finding people that are unprotected, unvaccinated. And that's why we are seeing things like vaccine mandates, vaccine passports.
In Vancouver, Crystal Adaris, City News. Another day of high COVID-19 numbers for BC. The province recording 814 new cases since yesterday, but no additional deaths. Interior Health continues to lead the number of new cases with 272, but Fraser Health is close behind at 241. The number of people in the ICU is up by 3 since yesterday to 129, and there are 261 people in hospitals across BC. In the last week, people not fully vaccinated against COVID-19 accounted for over 77% of new cases and over 85% of hospitalizations.
Surrey's mayor is again at the center of controversy.
We'd like Elections BC to undertake an investigation to see if the Initiative Act was violated by the mayor and take appropriate action and make sure this doesn't happen again. We've also had city bylaw officials following some of our signing locations and monitoring them, which again is a form of intimidation. We're not blaming the staff, but someone ordered them to do that, and it's happened on several locations and several times. So there's something going on there, and I think the reality is that a lot of the voters of Surrey want to have a referendum. The Surrey policing issue is extremely important. It's a divisive issue, and the best solution is to let the people decide, not a handful of politicians.
The group petitioning to have a referendum on replacing the RCMP with a municipal force, saying Doug McCallum interfered with and intimidated volunteers gathering signatures on the weekend. Elections BC saying they are looking into it, writing, "The Recall and Initiative Act prohibits individuals and organizations from impeding, preventing, or otherwise interfering with an individual's right to sign a petition. Whether or not this occurred in this case will be part of our review." The mayor's claiming someone ran over his foot, and RCMP now looking for evidence of that, saying if anyone has information, dashcam footage, or witnessed an altercation involving Surrey Mayor Doug McCallum and a grey Ford Mustang at a Keep the RCMP in Surrey gathering at Save on Foods, to give them a call. You can see here Mayor Doug McCallum with the organizer of the Keep the RCMP in Surrey event on the weekend. McCallum did run on changing the police force in the last election, and that transition process is now underway. For City News in Victoria, I'm News 1130's Lisa Yuzda.
A man is dead after a horrific crash at a McDonald's drive-thru in Vancouver this morning. It happened near Main and Terminal just before 7. Police say the man had dropped something while paying for items in the drive-thru, and when he reached for it, his car kept rolling, pinning him between the car and the door jamb. The driver died on scene. Vancouver Police's Collision Investigation Unit and BC Coroner Services are investigating. Anyone who may have witnessed the incident or has relevant dash cam footage is asked to call investigators at the number on your screen. If your monthly rent has been frozen at the same rate throughout the pandemic, that relief could soon be coming to an end. The province has announced landlords can bring in annual hikes of a maximum 1.5% as of New Year's Day. No increase is allowed before the end of December, and landlords must provide a minimum of 3 months' notice. The Vancouver Tenants Union says given we're still dealing with the pandemic, the province should reconsider this.
A notice of rent increase is never good news for renters, especially in a city as unaffordable as Vancouver. And it's important to note that we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and tenants continue to be struggling financially. And so with the ever-changing public health orders, our incomes are going to continue to be precarious throughout this pandemic.
The province says any 2022 rent increases will be significantly less than those in recent years before the pandemic, as landlords were previously allowed to charge an additional 2% on top of the annual inflation rate. The landlords, meanwhile, say the rent freeze proved to be a challenge for them, as well as many of them, too, lost their jobs and faced difficulties.
It was a tough challenge, and this rent increase, it's great to see the rent freeze being lifted, but this is a long way from being able to sort of stabilize sort of the operation of these of a rental business, particularly for smaller landlords.
I think today's a charm campaign. I think the charm campaign is on, and each of the candidates has to get their message across directly to Canadians.
With less than 2 weeks before the federal election, party leaders are squaring off in two back-to-back debates that have the potential to shift political futures.
Canadians are expecting more tangible, concrete answers to real questions that we have. Of course, the economy leads the way because the pandemic has been very difficult, but healthcare is going to be on the table for sure.
Wednesday's main event in Gatineau, Quebec, is the second French language debate, followed Thursday by the first English contest. It comes as major polls put the Liberals and Conservatives neck and neck down the home stretch. But Boulos believes another leader has to capture the spotlight to reinforce his party's prospects.
I think Mr. Singh has to make a move tonight because nothing really, he's always had a bit of a comfortable, relationship with Quebec. but not much more than that happened last time. And I think this is his last chance to try to connect with Quebec voters.
Last week's debate on French station TVA saw party leaders gang up on Liberal leader Justin Trudeau. Ahead of tonight's battle, the Liberals holding a press conference focused solely on the #1 contender, Erin O'Toole.
You can't pander to the gun lobby and then at the same time try to run as Mr. Public Safety. You can't enthusiastically endorse private for-profit healthcare options and then try to run as a defender of universal healthcare.
Voters can expect to see a new face during Wednesday's French debate. Green leader Annamie Paul, who has stumbled since elected captain of the ship.
I think it's just about making sure that she is a credible leader within her party. This is less to do with voters and more to do with reassuring her own base that she is the right person to lead the party.
In Ottawa, Nigel Newlove, City News.
Your next edition of City News is tonight at 11 o'clock. Thanks for watching and have a great night.